If you wonder where you need to get your comps for your cards, whether it's Pokemon or sports cards, then this video might be for you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It's Ken here with Can't Say More Collecting. A little bit different setup today for me, but I'm a four-figure eBay seller that has been selling on solely on eBay since end of 2024. I have roughly about 3,000 sales now over end of December, or end of November, into December, and January, February. So I feel like I am doing decent for the goals that I have set out for myself. But you're watching this video today because I went to a card show on Sunday that I'm recording this video, and made a couple deals with a couple people, and I made a deal with at a sports table where the gentleman was really good. Really, he worked with me a lot. But I was checking comps on eBay. He was checking comps on his Whatnot thing that he had going on. So I was like, I've never really checked for comps on Whatnot. I didn't know you could check for comps and whatnot. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if he was just basing it off of what he had it in his store. But I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you got for this? What do you got for this? What do you got for that? He's like, well, based off of comps. And I was like, well, based off of what I'm seeing on eBay, we had a little conversation about it. It was good. It was a good educational conversation. But at the end of the day, he was like, I'm going off of what I have. I was like, cool. Then I'm going to ask for this. And we worked out a deal in the end, but it was one of those, like, at a show, I was trying to move to all the different tables that I possibly could and not spend 15 minutes trying to come to an agreeable price because we didn't have a consistent place to check comps, right? So I know there's TCG, or not TCG Player, that's for Pokemon, but that'll come later. Price charting, I know there's price charting for sports cards. I know there's eBay for sports cards. I know there's market movers for sports cards, but you gotta pay for the really good version of market movers, and not a lot of people want to do that. But there's no consistency in comps, and then even then, price charting doesn't necessarily have the latest up-to-date eBay sale comp or eBay sales, so it can't add that into the comp value. We'll call it comp value of the cards, which is a little frustrating because there's no consistency, right? Like, I'm a man of the military. Consistency is key, even though the military is consistently changing. But having that consistency, knowing that, like, hey, if I go to this website, if I check this thing, this is going to be the price of the card and or about the price of the card, with some variations of that. But it just got me thinking yesterday of, like, man, I really, really wish we could have a consistency across the collecting community of, like, hey, if we go to this one, we're going to trust this one source. All these other sources can add it, but this one source is going to be the one that, like, kind of rules them all, I guess. I don't know, that's probably going to spark some hatred for me, but that's just my thought. Like, having that one place of, like, I know I can get consistent comps here. This is where I'm going to go. This is where everybody else is going to go. So when I mark my stuff, I'm marking it off of that price, not a different random one-off thing that I saw. Somebody sold this one card for $60. That means I can go list it for 65 now, right? Like, no, that's not what I want. I want the, hey, this place listed it for 60. This place listed it for 35. Maybe this place listed it for 40. Take those together, average it out, and say, hey, this should be the average comp for that card. Maybe there is something and I just don't know about it. So if that is the case, please make sure you leave a comment down below. If you made it this far, please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button for future Pokemon and sports card content as I move forward with my eBay business. I'll additionally be doing videos on my eBay business at the end of February. I'm going to do a roll-up of my month of sales. My plan moving into March. But moving back to the original topic of conversation is, that's it for sports cards. So I moved over to a different table, same vendor, same show, went over to a different table, and this time it was Pokemon, because I do sell both sports and Pokemon on my eBay store. I enjoy sports. I love sports. I talk sports all the time. My kids hate me because I talk sports, but I also talk Pokemon, so I go and get some Pokemon cards to sell as well. And I went to a show, or a table, they had probably like 4 tables, maybe more, on there, and it was a great little thing. A lot of good cards. But I started going through one of their boxes because they didn't have it in a case. One of their boxes, and none of the cards were labeled, which was one frustrating, and then two, the cards that were labeled, they're like, don't trust those sticker prices because they're wrong. So I was like, I saw a card, I didn't pick it up, but I saw a card that was listed for roughly $24, when I know recently I looked at it online and it was selling for close to 50. So I was like, oh man, $24, like I would absolutely pick that up. And then they're like, yeah, no, that's not the actual sticker price. I just kind of chuckled and kept going on my way with my other box, but because they were telling this to somebody else. So that was kind of frustrating. As a vendor, I feel like you're either going to have nothing marked or everything marked, and then go off what your marked price is. Because that's just personal pet peeve of mine, I guess. But I was going through their box. I picked up about 12 cards. I said, hey, what can you guys do for this? And they were using Collector. I also use Collector. I also use TCG or price charting. I also check TCG Player for Pokemon comps. My kids use TCG Players in Collector. And then there's eBay, right? So like right there's 4 different places that I needed to go check for comps. To see what the comp was for a Pokemon card. And then the Pokemon guys that I was working to deal with, they told me like, hey, this is where we're at. I was like, yeah, that's definitely out of my price range for today. What about these couple cards? And this is where I messed up. I said I wanted these cards. They took the cards out. They deleted. I say deleted, and I do this with quotations because I don't think they did it. And go back, and they're like, all right, so it's like, I'll go ahead and say it was 140 for the cards, for 6 cards. And then I was like, well, that's still out of my price range. I'm looking to be at that like 1 to 120 range. And he was like, oh, well, we can meet in the middle and do 125, which was great. I appreciate it. And then I got home and I started inputting them into my inventory on eBay and into Collector, and I noticed like these cards don't equal 140. So I messed up. I didn't check to see the Collector app again. I didn't put them in myself. I was trying to make a deal so I could again keep moving, keep going to the next table to see what other deals were, because I was trying to get the Stellar Crown Squirtle for my PC. So I'm trying to find a real clean copy so I can get it graded and put it in my PC. But again, I spent probably 10, 20, almost, I'd probably say closer to 25 minutes at this table trying to work out a deal because we were going through so many different places for comps. Do you experience similar issues when you go to shows, when you go to sell on stores or look on stores on eBay or wherever to buy cards? Do you check multiple sources to see where the comp is? And then when you do, what do you go for? Do you do that 70 to 80%? Do you do the market price? How do you buy your cards when you do that? I always try to make sure that like, hey, the seller's getting some, but at the same time, like, I am not breaking the bank because I am also going to resell. I have a good buddy of mine that does exclusively Pokemon that was, very upfront with me. He was like, hey, man, look, if you try to do any trades with me, I'm going to tell you I'm going at 70%. Like, 70 is my high for when it comes to when I buy, right? So if you ask me to buy anything off of you, I'm only going to ask you for 70% of what is actually 70% of market price. I was like, well, I appreciate that. That's good information to know. Maybe as I go forward, that might be something that I include as part of my repertoire, I guess, of like, hey, if I'm buying at 70%. I'm not buying at the prices that some of these other people want. Which then kind of like flips me into a different avenue of, sorry if this video is a little ranty, but it's something on my mind. I have offers on all my sports cards on eBay. I do. I allow all of them to be offered on, with the idea and thought process that people are going to send an offer and then work with me when they send an offer that I'm not going to accept. I absolutely dislike, to the umpteenth degree, the people that will send offers on cards for 50%, 66%, or higher off of what the listing price is. And then when I give a counter offer, they automatically decline it. Maybe this is me in my thinking, but like, if you're gonna send an offer for a card, you want that card, and you should be willing to work to get to a deal, even if you take all 5 of those eBay counter offers. If it takes all 5, it takes all 5. But like, don't send one for 66% off the asking price, and then when a counter offer is sent, hit automatically decline. Like that. That's a little frustrating, and that happens a lot more than I would like, I would say, especially on the higher end cards. I got a Paul Skeens card listed up there. Somebody sent me an offer for $50. You're asking for $175 off of the card. Absolutely not gonna happen. I have a Hunter Green rookie auto blue wave on there. I have it listed for 100. Last sold was for 100. So I kept at the last sold comp. Somebody sent me an offer for 50. I said, not gonna happen. Can you meet me at 85? And they're like, why would I meet you at 85 if I offered 50? It's like, gotta work with me here. Like, $50 off the last one, and you're asking me to sell it to you for 50, knowing that you're probably gonna take it and turn around and do it. Like, that just doesn't work, especially with eBay fees and things like that. Like, we're all here to try to make some money. Like, be courteous people when making deals on eBay. At least that's my rant, my personal opinion. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't like terrible people in the community, terrible people in the hobby that don't want to work with you, that are only trying to make that buck. We all do this because we all like Pokemon cards, we all like sports cards, we all like the genre of the things that we collect. If you're in here just to make money, great, good for you, I'm happy for you, but don't ruin it for everybody else, please. Because at the end of the day, I still like Pokemon, I still like sports cards, and I love my business that I have going on right now. Again, if you stick around to the end of this video, thank you very much. Please make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and until next time, have a good one.